families of Dom and Davia, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davia. We were all friends, and Dom was my soulmate.
The courtroom held its breath as the judge addressed 17-year-old Mackenzie Sharilla. The prosecution's case had been methodical and devastating. Security footage showed her car making a sharp turn before accelerating to 100 miles per hour in a straight, deliberate line into a concrete building. Her boyfriend Dominic Russo and his friend Davin Flanagan died on impact. There were no skid marks, no evidence of mechanical failure, just that terrifying, unwavering trajectory. Prosecutors revealed a history of disturbing behavior. Threatening texts where Mackenzie vowed to ruin Dominic, witnesses who described their volatile relationship, and the damning fact that she'd driven that same route days earlier, almost like a rehearsal.
It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine of him next to her.
The families of Dom and Davia, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose.
When the guilty verdict was read, Mackenzie's knees buckled. "I don't remember," she sobbed, her voice breaking. "I would never hurt them on purpose." But the judge saw through her claims, sentencing her to 15 years to life. Then came the moment that unsettled everyone. As the handcuffs clicked around her wrists, Mackenzie's tears stopped abruptly. Her face went slack, eyes unfocused, as if she'd simply shut down. That eerie transition from hysterical grief to blank detachment left even seasoned court observers unnerved.
The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose the day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car. She chose an obscure, previously scouted route through an industrial roadway. She chose the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. She planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence. But I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out of 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other.
Aiden Fuji.
You want me to read these? Okay. This is to the family for me. I just wanted to tell you that I'm feeling very deep sadness for the loss of your beautiful daughter, and I know the heartache you must be going through is just terrible. And I will pray for you every day.
Another teenager who sat motionless as his fate was decided was 14-year-old Aiden Fuji had committed a murder so brutal it defied comprehension, luring his 13-year-old classmate into the woods near their Florida middle school and stabbing her 114 times. Crime scene photos showed the horrific aftermath: blood-spattered leaves, deep gashes in tree bark where missed strikes had landed, and the victim's body bearing 49 defensive wounds. But what truly horrified investigators was Fuji's behavior after his arrest. In the back of the police cruiser, he smirked for Snapchat videos, adding flippant captions about his bad day.
This case is one of only a very small few that had this level and this type of impact on the community.
During interrogation, he spoke with chilling casualness, describing the murder in detached terms as his parents wept nearby. Forensic psychiatrists testified that Fuji showed signs of profound antisocial disorder, unable to comprehend the gravity of his actions. When sentenced to life with possible parole after 25 years, Fuji blinked slowly, his expression never changing. Not when the victim's mother screamed obscenities, not when his own father collapsed in the gallery. That same unnerving calm persisted through every hearing. a complete absence of remorse that made his crime even more terrifying.
I pray every day for both families, and I try to stay strong for my children and my grandchildren because I'm pretty much been their mother, their father, and their grandmother and grandfather.
Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale. The courtroom in Fairfield, Iowa, was packed on November 2nd, 2021, when 16-year-old Willard Miller and his best friend Jeremy Goodale were sentenced for the brutal murder of their Spanish teacher, Nohema Graber. What began as a dispute over a bad grade escalated into one of the most shocking juvenile murder cases in Iowa history.
I still did what I did, and I accept responsibility for that. And I apologize to all parties, everyone affected, to my community, to my family, to the Grabers, of course. And I ask that I'm given a chance, and I don't want to be institutionalized. I don't want to be in so long that I forget about what matters, where I come from, and what I need to do. I look forward to getting through this. Thank you.
Miller, described by classmates as a quiet but well-liked student, had reportedly become obsessed with the C grade he received in Graber's class. Text messages revealed he'd been stewing over it for weeks before approaching Goodale with his deadly plan. On November 2nd, 2021, the teens ambushed the 66-year-old educator during her regular afternoon walk at Chautauqua Park. Surveillance footage showed them following Graber before attacking her with a baseball bat. The medical examiner would later testify that Graber suffered multiple skull fractures and brain injuries from the beating. What made this case particularly chilling was the methodical planning involved. The teens had created a detailed kill kit containing the bat, gloves, and a change of clothes. After the murder, they attempted to hide Graber's body under a tarp, wheelbarrow, and railroad ties near the park. Their digital footprint would be their undoing. Goodale had sent Snapchat messages detailing their plans, including one that read, "Point of view, you're my Spanish teacher, and this is the last thing you see." During sentencing, the contrast between the two defendants was striking. Goodale, who had pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Miller, broke down in tears as he addressed the court. "I understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber. I'm sorry, truly sorry." Forensic psychologist Dr. Michael Taylor testified that Goodale showed genuine remorse and had been more of a follower in the crime. The judge sentenced him to life with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
The defendant, Willard Noble Chaden Miller, should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years.
Miller stood motionless, showing no visible reaction. Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy.
Sheila Eddy, for your conviction of the offense of murder in the first degree upon your plea of guilty, it is the sentence of the court that you've been imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life.
In December 2012, the small town of Star City, West Virginia, was rocked by the disappearance of 16-year-old Skylar Neal. What investigators initially treated as a missing persons case soon unraveled into a chilling tale of betrayal and murder at the hands of her two best friends, Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy. The trio had been inseparable since middle school, but court documents revealed a dark turn in their friendship. Schoaf and Eddy had grown increasingly resentful of Skylar, with text messages showing they referred to her as annoying and fake. On December 7, 2012, they lured Skylar into the woods under the pretense of hanging out. Once there, they took turns stabbing her before hiding her body in a shallow grave. The case broke when Schoaf, consumed by guilt, confessed to a school counselor 9 months later. Her cooperation became crucial to the prosecution. During her emotional testimony, Schoaf described how Eddy had been the primary instigator. She kept saying we had to do this, that Skylar deserved it. Forensic evidence supported this, showing Eddy's DNA was predominant on the murder weapon. At sentencing, the courtroom saw starkly different reactions. Schoaf, then 17, wept uncontrollably as she addressed the Skylar's family. "I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology. I hurt the Neal family and those who love Skylar." The judge acknowledged her cooperation and genuine remorse, sentencing her to 30 years with parole eligibility after 10 years. Eddy's sentencing was more contentious. She showed no emotion as the victim impact statements were read. Skylar's mother screamed at her, "You took my baby's life for no reason." When given the chance to speak, Eddie offered a terse, prepared statement with none of Shof's emotional depth. The judge sentenced her to life with the possibility of parole after 15 years, a sentence that drew outrage from Skylar's family. As these young killers serve their sentences, questions remain about rehabilitation versus punishment. With Goodell eligible for parole at 41 and Miller at 51, Iowa will eventually face difficult decisions about their futures. In West Virginia, Shof could be released as early as 2022, while Eddie must wait until at least 2027. What lingers most are the courtroom images: Miller's blank stare, Eddie's cold indifference, juxtaposed against the raw grief of the victims' families. These cases force us to confront uncomfortable truths about adolescent violence, peer influence, and the limits of the justice system when dealing with minors who commit adult crimes.